I woke up at 4:47 a.m. on Thanksgiving morning, and I knew something was terribly wrong. My hands were shaking as I stared at my phone. The notification had come through at 3:32 a.m. from the home security camera I'd installed 2 weeks ago. Motion detected in the guest house. I told myself it was probably a raccoon. It had to be a raccoon, but my gut knew better. You see, 3 weeks earlier, my sister-in-law Jennifer had moved into our guest house. She was going through a rough patch, that's what my husband David called it. A breakup, financial trouble, needed family support. Of course we'd help. She was family, David's only sister. I'd known her for 18 years, since the day David and I got married. But lately, things had felt off. The way David's eyes would linger on his phone. The way Jennifer would touch his arm just a little too long when she laughed at his jokes. The way they'd both go silent when I walked into a room. I felt crazy even thinking it. This was his sister, for God's sake. I grabbed my tablet and opened the security app. My daughter Emma had helped me set it up when she came home from college 2 weeks ago. "Mom, you're not being paranoid," she'd said. "Something's weird. I can feel it too." The footage loaded. The guest house, illuminated by the porch light. And then I saw them, David and Jennifer, sitting close together on the guest house porch at 3:30 inches the morning. Too close. Her head on his shoulder, his arm around her waist, and then they kissed. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. The room started spinning. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening. Not David, not Jennifer, not his own sister. But as I sat there on the cold bathroom floor, fragments of memories started clicking into place. The hushed phone calls, David's sudden interest in helping Jennifer with paperwork for hours in the guest house, the way she'd shown up to family dinners wearing his favorite color, the expensive necklace she was wearing last week that she claimed was from an old friend. I heard David stir in our bedroom. I quickly washed my face, got back into bed, and pretended to be asleep. My heart was pounding so hard I was sure he could hear it. He got up at 5:30, kissed my forehead like everything was normal, and headed to the shower. I wanted to scream. I wanted to confront him right then and there. But something stopped me. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma. "Mom, are you awake? I need to talk to you. It's important." I slipped out of bed and called her. "Honey, what's wrong?" "Mom, I didn't want to say anything without proof. But..." She took a deep breath. "I've been going through Dad's study. The financial documents you asked me to organize for tax season. Mom, there's money missing. A lot of money." My blood ran cold. "What do you mean missing?" "The inheritance from Grandma and Grandpa Morrison. The land they left Dad in Montana. It was worth at least $340,000. Mom, it's gone. It was sold 6 months ago. And there's no record of that money in any of your joint accounts." I sat down on the stairs, trying to process this. David's parents had passed away 2 years ago. They'd left him that land. It had been in the Morrison family for 3 generations. David had promised we'd build a retirement cabin there someday. "Emma, are you absolutely sure?" I found the sale documents. Dad and Aunt Jennifer both signed. "Mom, she's listed as co-owner. When did Dad add her to the title?" "Never. As far as I knew, never." "I'll call you back, honey." My mind was racing. This wasn't just an affair. This was theft, fraud. David had sold family property that should have been part of our marital assets, and somehow Jennifer was involved. I spent Thanksgiving Day in a fog. I cooked the turkey, mashed the potatoes, made the stuffing from scratch. Our house was filled with family, my brother and his wife, David's Aunt Margaret, our neighbors, the Wilsons, and, of course, Jennifer, playing the role of the grateful sister-in-law, complimenting my cooking, helping serve the food. David carved the turkey and gave a toast about gratitude and family. I watched Jennifer's hand brush against his as she passed him the serving platter. I watched them exchange a glance across the table, and I smiled and nodded and played along. That night, after everyone had left and David had gone to bed, I sat in my home office and started digging. I accessed every bank statement, every credit card bill, every financial document I could find. The pattern was there once I knew to look for it. charges to hotels when David claimed he was visiting clients, cash withdrawals of $500, $800, $1,000, $200 over the past year. A mysterious LLC called Morrison Ventures that I'd never heard of. I barely slept that night. The next morning, I called my brother Thomas. "Sarah, what's wrong? You sound terrible. I need your help. And I need you to not tell anyone, not even Melissa." Thomas was a private investigator. He'd spent 20 years with the Chicago PD before going private. If anyone could help me, it was him. I told him everything: the security footage, the missing money, the land sale. He was quiet for a long moment. "Sarah, I'm so sorry, but listen to me carefully. Don't confront them yet. You need evidence, real evidence. Let me make some calls." Over the next 3 weeks, Thomas worked his magic. He hired a forensic accountant who traced the money from the land sale. Turned out David and Jennifer had opened a joint account in Wyoming, a state with different disclosure laws. The $340,000 had been deposited there, and they'd been systematically withdrawing it. They'd spent nearly $90,000 already. Luxury trips, a car for Jennifer, investment in some scheme Jennifer's boyfriend had going. "Wait, boyfriend?" "Yeah," Thomas said, showing me photos on his laptop. "Jennifer's been engaged to some guy named Marcus Holloway for the past year. Tech investor. Very wealthy. The wedding's supposedly set for next spring." I stared at the photos. Jennifer and this Marcus at charity, galas, at restaurants, on vacation in Cabo. All while she was sleeping with my husband. All while she was living in my guest house, eating at my table, crying to me about her breakup. "There's more," Thomas said grimly. "I tracked down David's first wife, Rachel. I'd known David was married before me, briefly, when he was in his 20s. It ended badly," he'd said. "Incompatibility. They were both young and foolish. He never liked to talk about it. Sarah, Rachel wants to talk to you. She lives in Seattle now. I gave her your number," she said. "She said you need to hear what happened." Rachel called me that evening. Her voice was kind but sad. "Sarah, I don't know how to tell you this gently, so I'm just going to say it. Jennifer destroyed my marriage to David. She told him I was cheating on him. She manufactured evidence, fake emails, a burner phone with text messages she'd written herself. She convinced David I was having an affair with his business partner. We were married 11 months. By the time David realized Jennifer had lied, I was already gone. I'd moved across the country. I couldn't fight her anymore." My voice was barely a whisper. Why would she do that? Because Jennifer has always been obsessed with David. I don't think it's romantic, exactly. It's control. She can't stand him being close to anyone else. Their parents babied her, always took her side. She learned young that tears and manipulation would get her whatever she wanted. And what she wants is David's complete attention and devotion. When I was in the picture, she didn't have that. "Did you ever tell anyone?" "I tried. David's Aunt Margaret believed me, but she's not close with the family. David's parents shut me down immediately, called me vindictive and jealous. After a while, I had to let it go. But Sarah, when your brother called and told me what was happening, I knew. It's the same pattern all over again." After I hung up, I sat in the dark for a long time. This wasn't just about money or infidelity. This was about a woman who'd systematically destroyed relationships, manipulated her own brother, and stolen from us from me without a shred of remorse. I thought about confronting them privately, getting a lawyer, filing for divorce quietly, moving on, but something in me rebelled against that idea. Jennifer had gotten away with this before. She'd destroyed Rachel's life and faced no consequences. She was planning to marry some wealthy man while stealing from me. She'd cried on my shoulder, eaten my food, lived in my house, all while betraying me in the worst possible way. "No, not this time." I called Emma. "Honey, how would you feel about helping your mom plan something big?" "Mom, what are you thinking? Remember how Aunt Jennifer and her fiancé Marcus set their engagement party for December 15th, and how she insisted on having it here at our house because it's so beautiful and spacious?" Emma was quiet for a moment. Then I heard her smile. "Oh, Mom, are you thinking what I think you're thinking? I need you to come home early from school." And I need you to help me gather every single piece of evidence we have. Every document, every photo, every receipt. Can you do that? Mom, I'm packing right now. The next 2 weeks were a blur of careful planning. I met with a divorce attorney and filed papers, but requested they not be served until I gave the word. I hired Thomas's forensic accountant to prepare a full report. I contacted Rachel and asked if she'd be willing to make a statement. She said yes. I also did something else. I reached out to Marcus Holloway. We met at a coffee shop in downtown Chicago. He was handsome, polished, exactly the kind of man Jennifer would target. And he was completely clueless. Mrs. Morrison, I'm confused. Why did you want to meet with me? I slid a folder across the table. Because you're about to marry a woman who's been having an affair with my husband, her brother. And I thought you should know before you make the biggest mistake of your life. I watched his face change as he looked through the photos, the bank statements, the security footage, the color drained from his face. This can't be real. Jennifer and I were in love. She told me she was staying with you because her apartment flooded. She said David was helping her with some family estate issues. This has to be a misunderstanding. Mr. Holloway, I know this is hard to hear, but I've been where you are, wanting to believe the best in someone who's lying to your face. I have more evidence if you need it. But I'm guessing you're a smart man. You probably already had doubts, didn't you? He was quiet for a long moment, then nodded slowly. The late-night phone calls she wouldn't explain, the weekends she was too busy to see me, the way she'd panic if I suggested dropping by unannounced. He looked up at me. What are you going to do? I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly who Jennifer Morrison really is, and I'd like your help. He stared at me, then a strange expression crossed his face. Not quite a smile, but something close. Tell me what you need. December 15th arrived. Our house was decorated beautifully. Jennifer had spared no expense, naturally, since David was paying for everything. White roses everywhere, a string quartet, catering from the finest restaurant in town. 75 guests, including Jennifer's friends, David's business associates, family members from both sides. Jennifer looked stunning in a cream-colored cocktail dress. Marcus was running late, she'd told everyone, but would be there soon. David played the proud brother, welcoming guests, making jokes about how he was losing his little sister to a great guy. I played my part perfectly, the supportive sister-in-law. I'd even given Jennifer a beautiful bracelet that morning. For your special day, I'd told her. She'd hugged me, tears in her eyes. Sarah, you've been so wonderful to me. I don't know what I'd do without you. The knife in my back twisted a little deeper. At 7:30 p.m., I clinked my glass to get everyone's attention. Excuse me, everyone. Before Marcus arrives, I have a little surprise presentation for the happy couple. David, Jennifer, if you could come up here. They both looked surprised but pleased. David squeezed my hand as he walked past. What are you up to, honey? You'll see. Emma dimmed the lights and pulled up a PowerPoint presentation on the TV screen. The first slide appeared. The truth about Jennifer Morrison. Jennifer's face went white. David looked confused. Sarah, what is this? This, I said, my voice steady and clear, is the truth about who you've been sleeping with for the past year, and who's been stealing from us. The room went completely silent. I clicked to the next slide. Security camera footage of David and Jennifer kissing. Gasps echoed through the room. David and Jennifer have been having an affair. His own sister, living in our guest house, eating at our table, all while betraying me in the most disgusting way imaginable. Jennifer found her voice. This is insane. Sarah, you're clearly having some kind of breakdown. David, tell her. Tell me what, David? I clicked to the next slide. Bank statements. Tell me about the $340,000 you and your sister stole from our marriage? The land your parents left you that you sold without telling me? The money you've been funneling into a secret account in Wyoming? David's face had gone gray. His Aunt Margaret stood up. David Morrison, is this true? He couldn't speak. The evidence was right there on the screen. I clicked again. Photos of Jennifer and Marcus. Oh, and Jennifer, your fiancé Marcus couldn't make it tonight. But he did want me to share something with you. The screen changed to a video. Marcus appeared, sitting in what looked like a lawyer's office. Jennifer, By the time you see this, you'll know that Sarah Morrison contacted me 3 weeks ago. She showed me proof that you've been having an affair with your own brother while planning to marry me. I've had my attorneys review the prenuptial agreement you signed. Due to infidelity prior to marriage, you're entitled to exactly nothing. Our engagement is over. Don't contact me. My lawyers will be in touch regarding the $45,000 in gifts I gave you, which I'll be demanding you return. The room erupted. Jennifer was screaming that this was all lies, a setup. David was trying to leave, but his Aunt Margaret blocked the door. Not so fast, David. I want to hear you explain this. I clicked to the final slide. Rachel appeared on screen, recorded testimony. My name is Rachel Morrison. I was married to David Morrison for 11 months. 20 years ago, Jennifer Morrison destroyed my marriage through systematic lies and manipulation. She's been obsessed with controlling her brother his entire adult life. What she's done to Sarah is exactly what she did to me. I'm here to tell anyone listening, this is who Jennifer Morrison really is. This is her pattern. And it's time someone stood up to her. The room was in chaos now. Family members were shouting. Jennifer's friends were gathering their things and leaving. David's business partner was on his phone, undoubtedly calling his lawyer. I picked up one more folder from the side table. David, you're being served with divorce papers. Jennifer, you're being sued for theft and fraud. I've also filed a report with the police regarding the forged documents you used to add yourself to the property title. Jennifer lunged at me. Emma stepped between us, and Thomas, who'd been standing in the back of the room, moved forward. I wouldn't do that, ma'am. That would be assault in front of 70 witnesses. David finally spoke, his voice broken. Sarah, please, can we talk about this privately? I looked at the man I'd been married to for 18 years. The man who'd promised to love and cherish me. The man who'd betrayed me with his own sister and stolen from me without a moment's hesitation. No, David, we can't. You made your choices. You chose to believe Jennifer over Rachel all those years ago. You chose to let her back into our lives. You chose to sleep with her. You chose to steal from me. These are the consequences. I turned to address the room. I'm sorry you all had to witness this, but I think it's important that the truth is finally out there. Jennifer Morrison is a liar, a manipulator, and a thief. And David Morrison is a man who betrayed his wife in the worst possible way. I refuse to protect them anymore. I refuse to let Jennifer destroy another woman's life the way she destroyed Rachel's. I picked up my purse. Emma linked her arm through mine, and we walked out of my own house, leaving the wreckage behind us. The fallout was immediate and severe. David moved out the next day, staying with a friend. Jennifer was arrested 3 days later for fraud and forgery. The evidence was overwhelming. She'd forged my signature on multiple documents related to the land sale. David was complicit, but she'd been the one who'd actually committed the fraud. David's business suffered. Word spread quickly in our community about what had happened. His clients didn't want to work with a man who'd steal from his own wife and sleep with his sister. His reputation was destroyed. Jennifer's case went to trial 4 months later. She was found guilty and sentenced to 18 months in prison and ordered to pay restitution. Marcus's lawyers successfully sued for return of the gifts. She lost everything. David tried to reconcile with me twice. The first time, 2 weeks after the party. I refused to even meet with him. The second time, he sent a letter, a long, rambling explanation about how Jennifer had manipulated him, how she'd told him I was planning to leave him anyway, how she'd convinced him I didn't love him anymore, how sorry he was. I burned the letter. But there was one person I did reconnect with, Rachel. We met for coffee in January, and something unexpected happened. We became friends, real friends. 2 women who'd been victims of the same person, who understood each other's pain in a way no one else could. You know what the crazy thing is? Rachel said one day over lunch. I spent 20 years feeling like I'd failed, like if I'd just fought harder, been stronger, I could have saved my marriage. But seeing what Jennifer did to you, and you're one of the strongest women I've ever met, I finally understand. It wasn't my fault. It was never my fault. It wasn't mine either, I said quietly. Through Rachel, I found a support group for people who'd been victims of family member betrayal. I started going to therapy. Emma transferred to a college closer to home to be near me. My brother Thomas checked on me every single day. And slowly, painfully, I started to rebuild. The divorce was finalized in March. David was ordered to pay back half of the stolen money, most of which was gone, but his assets were liquidated to pay as much as possible. I kept the house, I kept my dignity, and I kept my truth. 6 months after that horrible Thanksgiving, I was sitting in my backyard with Emma and Rachel, drinking iced tea and watching the sunset. Emma had just finished her sophomore year. Rachel had flown in from Seattle for a visit. We were laughing about something silly. I can't even remember what. My phone rang. It was Aunt Margaret. "Sarah, dear, I wanted you to hear this from me. David's in the hospital. Heart attack. He's stable, but it was serious." I felt nothing. No rush of concern, no desire to run to his side, just a calm, quiet acknowledgement of the information. "Thank you for letting me know, Margaret. I hope he recovers." "You're not going to visit him?" "No, Margaret, I'm not. That chapter of my life is closed." When I hung up, Rachel squeezed my hand. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said, and I meant it. I really am. Here's what I learned through all of this. Betrayal by people you love doesn't just hurt. It changes you. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about trust and family and love. But it also teaches you something important. You are stronger than you think. You can survive the unsurvivable. You can stand up for yourself even when it's terrifying. You can choose to expose the truth even when it would be easier to stay silent. And you can rebuild a life that's even better than the one that was destroyed. I started a blog in April, sharing my story. I used a pseudonym at first, but eventually I decided to use my real name. Women started reaching out to me. Dozens of them. Hundreds. All with similar stories of family betrayal, of being manipulated and gaslit and stolen from. I realized I wasn't alone, and more importantly, they weren't alone. By summer, I'd started a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping victims of family financial abuse. We provide legal resources, counseling, referrals, and support groups. Emma works with me part-time, managing our social media. Rachel sits on our board of directors. We've helped 43 women so far. 43 women who found the courage to stand up, expose the truth, and reclaim their lives. Last week, I received a letter. It was from a woman in Ohio who'd seen my blog. Her brother-in-law had been stealing from her for years. Her husband knew and did nothing. She felt trapped and hopeless. But she read my story, and she found the courage to install security cameras, to gather evidence, to call a lawyer, to stand up for herself. She ended her letter with this: "Thank you for showing me that surviving isn't enough. Thank you for showing me how to fight back. Thank you for proving that the truth, no matter how painful, is always worth telling." I keep that letter on my desk. On the hard days, when the memories still sting, when I wonder if I did the right thing by exposing everything so publicly, I read it, and I remember why I made the choice I did. Not for revenge, not for cruelty, but because silence protects abusers. Silence allows manipulators like Jennifer to move from victim to victim. Silence keeps women trapped in situations where they're being betrayed and stolen from and gaslit. I chose the truth, the loud, messy, public truth, and I'd make the same choice again in a heartbeat. Because I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm thriving. I'm helping others thrive too. And that's something David and Jennifer can never take away from me. The truth set me free, and now I spend my days helping other women find that same freedom. If you're reading this and you're in a situation where someone you trust is betraying you, manipulating you, or stealing from you, please know this: it's not your fault. You are not crazy. Your instincts are telling you something important. Document everything. Reach out for help. Tell the truth, even when it's scary. And know that on the other side of that pain, there's a life waiting for you. A life where you're respected, valued, and free. I found mine. You can find yours too.